Welcome to Curious Minds. It's April 2025, and today we're taking a deep dive into something that's probably on a lot of people's radar,
Hmm.
how AI is reshaping our careers, our jobs.
hmm
You might be feeling, well, a bit uncertain, maybe a little concerned with all the headlines, but then you also hear about, almost 100 million new jobs potentially being created.
Exactly. There's definitely that mix of anxiety and excitement out there. And around 52% of U.S. professionals were worried, according to some figures.
Right. So our goal today is really to cut through some of that noise, look at the facts, and understand the tangible shifts already happening.
Yeah, based on what we're seeing from reliable sources, places like Forbes, Harvard Business School Online, industry insights from companies like Onward Search, StayFi, Vic.ai.
And even some conversations happening online, like on Reddit, right?
Absolutely. Getting a broad picture is key.
And to help us unpack all of this, we're joined by Dr. Lin, an AI economist who specializes in precisely this how technology transforms work. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's a fascinating time to be discussing this.
It really is. So let's just jump right in. What are the big transformations you're seeing right now, looking at the job market in April 2025?
Well, I think the most visible trend is AI increasingly handling tasks that are predictable, rule-based.
Like what specifically?
Things like data entry, for example. AI can crunch through that much faster, often more accurately. Basic customer service is another big one, those chatbots we all interact with now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And even some routine coding tasks are becoming more automated.
Okay, so the repetitive stuff. Do we have any idea of the scale? Like how much are we talking about?
Well, estimates from last year, around 2024, suggested that maybe 30% of the tasks within existing jobs could potentially be automated with the AI we have now.
30%? Wow, okay, that's significant.
It is, but it's crucial to understand it's not just about tasks disappearing. It's also about transformation.
Right, it's not a job apocalypse, it's a shift. So new roles are appearing too.
Precisely. While some tasks get automated, AI creates new needs. We're seeing a huge demand for data scientists, for instance, people who can make sense of all the data AI systems generate.
That makes sense. More data needs more analysis.
Exactly. And then there are roles focused on the AI itself, like AI ethicists, making sure these systems are used responsibly.
And you mentioned new types of collaboration.
Yeah, roles like human AI collaboration managers are starting to emerge. Their job is basically to figure out how humans and AI can work together most effectively.
That's interesting, like a bridge between the human workforce and the AI tools.
Kind of, yeah. And another really concrete example of a new role is the prompt engineer.
Ah, prompt engineers.
Yeah.
We hear that term a lot now. What exactly do they do?
So think about powerful AI models like Growth 3. To get them to do what you want, write specific text, generate images, analyze data, you need someone skilled at writing the instructions, the prompts.
It's like learning to talk to the AI effectively.
That's a great way to put it. And it's becoming a really valuable skill. It's not just tech fields either.
Okay. How is it playing out in, say, creative industries, marketing, design?
There, AI often acts more like an amplifier for human creativity. A graphic designer might use AI to quickly generate dozens of initial concepts.
Saving a lot of time on the early brainstorming.
Exactly. Or a marketing team could use it to test out tons of different ad copy variations way faster than they could manually. It frees up the humans for strategy and the really nuanced creative work.
So it's an augmentation tool in those cases.
Largely, yes. But we do need to be realistic. Some jobs are more at risk.
Which ones primarily?
Jobs that are heavily reliant on those repetitive, often lower-skill, rule-based tasks we talked about earlier, those are definitely more vulnerable to automation.
Okay. Let's maybe look at some specific industries then. Where are we seeing the biggest impacts right now?
Manufacturing is definitely feeling it. Automation was already a big trend there, right? We had around 4 million robots in factories globally back in 2024.
And AI is accelerating that.
It seems to be, yes. More sophisticated automation, better integration.
What about retail that employs so many people?
Retail is undergoing a massive shift. Self-checkouts are, well, everywhere now. But behind the scenes, AI chatbots are handling a huge chunk of customer service.
I've noticed that. Sometimes it's hard to get a human.
Right. And the numbers are stark. A McKinsey report last year suggested maybe 20% of retail jobs could be automated by 2027. And chatbot usage, it apparently jumped 92% since 2019.
92%. That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, what other sectors? Transportation?
Transportation is one to watch, for sure. Autonomous trucks aren't widespread yet, but the potential impact on driving jobs down the line is significant. It's a longer-term discussion, but it's there.
Okay, so manufacturing, retail, maybe transportation facing pressure.
Yeah.
Where is AI having a more sort of positive assistive role?
Healthcare is a really interesting example. AI is being used to help doctors, not replace them.
How so?
Well, in diagnostics, for instance, radiologists are using AI tools to help analyze scans, like X-rays or MRIs. The AI can sometimes spot subtle anomalies or patterns that might be missed.
Potentially leading to earlier diagnoses.
Exactly, better patient outcomes. It's augmenting the radiologist's expertise.
That's a powerful application. What about education?
Education's interesting. AI can help personalize learning, tailoring content to individual students' paces and needs.
Like adaptive learning software.
Right. But the teacher's role, the mentorship, emotional support, guiding critical discussions, that seems irreplaceable. AI is more likely to be a tool for teachers.
A classroom assistant, perhaps.
In a sense, yeah, helping with grading, finding resources, personalization, but not replacing the core human connection.
Makes sense. And the tech sector itself, obviously that's where a lot of this is originating.
Oh, the tech sector is booming. It's like an AI gold rush. Huge demand for software engineers, AI specialists, ethicists, those prompt engineers we mentioned.
You said job postings for generative AI skills jumped dramatically.
Tenfold in the last year alone, according to some reports. That gives you an idea of the sheer velocity here.
Tenfold. Okay. So it really brings us back to this idea that it's not if AI impacts your job, but how and whether you have the right skills.
That's the core issue. Adaptability, creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and increasingly digital literacy, which includes being comfortable working with AI tools.
Those seem to be the key differentiators.
They really do. And this brings us to the ethical side of things, too, which is just as important.
Absolutely. What are some of the big ethical considerations we need to keep in mind?
Well, one is how AI algorithms can shape what we see and believe, what some call digital amplification.
You mean like news feeds or recommendation engines?
Exactly. They prioritize certain information, potentially creating echo chambers or even amplifying misinformation if not carefully designed and monitored. Promoting diverse inputs and transparency in how they work is crucial.
Okay, what else? Algorithm bias seems like a big one.
Huge. If the data used to train an AI is biased, reflects historical inequalities. For example, the AI can end up making unfair or discriminatory decisions.
Like in hiring.
Hiring is a classic example. Or loan applications, or even facial recognition. The solutions involve using diverse, representative data, regular audits of AI systems, and having inclusive teams developing the AI in the first place.
Makes sense. Data in, bias out, potentially.
Unfortunately, yes. Then there's cybersecurity. AI systems often handle vast amounts of sensitive data, making them prime targets.
So protecting the AI is as important as protecting traditional systems.
Absolutely. Robust security measures, frequent updates, multi-factor authentication, employee training on phishing, and social engineering, all essential. And minimizing the data collected in the first place helps too.
And related to that is privacy, especially employee privacy.
Yes, there are real concerns about how companies might use AI to monitor employees, track productivity, or collect personal data. Clear, transparent policies are needed, along with strong data security and regular reviews of how that data is actually used.
It's a balance between efficiency and respecting privacy.
It has to be. And finally, there's the issue of inclusiveness, or the digital divide.
Meaning, not everyone has equal access to these tools or the skills to use them.
Exactly. Workers in more traditional industries or smaller businesses might struggle to leverage AI effectively compared to big tech firms. We need initiatives to provide training and resources to ensure the transition is fair and balanced.
So, lots of ethical tightropes to walk.
Definitely. But alongside these challenges, there's this persistent idea of the AI gold rush creating jobs.
Right, that prediction of AI creating more jobs than it eliminates.
Huh.
Do you think that holds water?
The consensus among many economists is leaning that way, yes. The nature of work will change dramatically, but the overall number of jobs might actually increase. There's that popular saying, AI won't replace you, but a human using AI will.
That puts the emphasis back on skills.
It does. And right now, there's a huge demand for AI talent. More than half of companies report they lack the AI skills they need.
A talent bottleneck.
Exactly, which creates high demand and often higher salaries for those who do have the skills.
So looking ahead to, say, the rest of 2025 and beyond, what are those top in-demand jobs?
Well, AI engineers and machine learning engineers are right at the top. The ML market alone is predicted to hit, $2 trillion by 2030? Huge number.
Oh, okay. Who else?
Robotics engineers linked to those millions of robots we mentioned. AI research scientists pushing the boundaries there were over 350,000 AI research papers published just in 2023.
Incredible pace of innovation.
It really is. Then you have data scientists. The U.S. Department of Labor projected around 20,800 new jobs annually in that field alone. AI chatbot and natural language processing NLP developers, given that huge jump in chatbot usage.
Makes sense.
AI product manager is crucial because something like 95% of new products fail, so guiding AI product development is key. AI solutions architects, designing how AI fits into business systems, and of course, prompt engineers.
That list covers a lot of technical ground. What about creative roles evolving?
Definitely. We're seeing demand for AI artists, graphic designers who integrate AI tools into their workflow, AI content creators and writers who leverage AI for ideation or drafting. Even leadership roles are changing with the rise of the Chief AI Officer or CAIO.
A C-suite role dedicated to AI strategy.
Precisely. And there's evidence that having these in-demand AI skills comes with a significant pay premium, maybe around 25% more in some cases.
Okay, so for someone listening, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, but also seeing the opportunity, what are those practical steps again? How do they start future-proofing?
Right. First, that self-assessment. Really analyze your current job. What parts are repetitive? What parts require uniquely human skills? There are even tools online that try to assess automatability.
Get an honest picture of your role. Step 1.
Step 2. Upskill strategically. Learn the basics of AI. There are great free or low-cost courses on platforms like edX or Khan Academy. But just as importantly, double down on those human skills. Critical thinking, creativity, leadership, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving. Remember that stat, 85% of jobs in 2030 might not even exist yet? Adaptability is paramount.
Focus on being human, essentially.
In a way, yes. And third, embrace the tools. Don't be afraid of AI. Experiment with it. Try using Grow or similar models. Write some prompts. Learn basic prompt engineering. It makes you more valuable, period.
Get your hands dirty with the technology.
Exactly. It demystifies it and shows you how it can actually help you.
You mentioned upskilling and reskilling earlier. Can you clarify the difference again and why both matter?
Sure. Upskilling is adding new skills relevant to your current role or field. Maybe learning how to use a new AI tool to do your existing job better. Reskilling is learning a different set of skills, often to transition into a new career path, entirely like moving from a heavily automated role into data analysis.
And both are critical now.
Absolutely. For individuals to stay relevant and for companies to adapt their workforce without massive disruption.
So how can people and companies do this effectively?
For individuals, it's about identifying those skill gaps we talked about and actively seeking learning opportunities. Online platforms like Coursera, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning are great resources. For companies, it means building a culture where learning is encouraged and supported.
Like providing time for training.
Yes, or encouraging cross-functional projects where people learn new areas, implementing mentorship programs, making learning part of the job, not an extra burden.
It really hammers home that idea of lifelong learning being a necessity now.
It's non-negotiable. The pace of change demands it. Learning is now continuous, as the saying goes. Everyone needs at least a basic understanding of how AI might affect them.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive for April 2025, what's the single biggest takeaway?
I'd say it's that AI's impact is a profound transformation. Yes, there are challenges, but there are also immense opportunities. The key differentiator will be proactivity, adaptability, and that willingness to learn.
And those crucial actions are?
1. Embrace continuous learning, think perpetual learning agility. 2. Hone those uniquely human skills, complex problem solving, creativity, emotional intelligence. 3. View AI as a tool, a collaborator, something to augment your capabilities, not just replace them.
A tool to be mastered, not feared.
That's a good way to put it.
And maybe a final, more provocative thought for our listeners to chew on. As AI integrates more and more deeply into how we work, how will our very definition of valuable work change? And what kind of shifts might we need in things like education systems or social safety nets to support this future workforce?
Those are the big societal questions we'll be grappling with for years to come. Really important ones.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. This has been incredibly helpful in navigating this complex topic.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
And thank you all for joining us on Curious Minds for this deep dive into the AI-driven job market of 2025. If you found this valuable, if it helped you think about the changes ahead, please do like, subscribe, and maybe share this video with your friends and family. Stay curious and stay informed.